Welcome back to TIP TV. You're watching me, Charlie Gibson, and yet again we have the opportunity to talk to Mariana Resources. We've spoken, of course, to Mariana before, and with me now in the studio is the Chief Executive, Glen Parsons. Glen, very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much indeed for rejoining us at TIP
Thanks,
TV
Charlie.
Mining. So just give us a quick recap. Mariana, obviously, you know, we've spoken before, but just recap us on the business, the assets, the opportunities and the timelines.
Sure. I mean, where we're sitting at the moment on specifically Hot Martin, because that is still driving Mariana. We've been, you know, holding quite steady on the share price and certainly holding value, which is in this market, quite a volatile market, has been quite good. So on the PEA front, which is probably pretty pertinent for everyone, we are expecting the PEA, you know, we did say by the end of this quarter, we're hoping by the end of November. But realistically, I mean, it's going to be there or thereabouts, and I think, you know, with a bit of patience, everyone will be happy.
Okay, so we've got 2 days to go to the end of the...
No,
but
2 days to go.
to be fair, these things always slip, don't they?
Well, the reality is, I mean, the PEA, you know, has been done by a separate consultant compared to the PFS. And our PFS is actually running concurrently, which will be completed by June next year. So we are pulling some of those the studies from the PFS into the PEA. So that's probably a little bit of the delay on our side. So that's on Hot Martin. Drilling is continuing. We put out some good holes about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You know, one of our most stellar holes again. You know, with 69 meters at basically 2-ounce material plus 3% copper. So really exceptional grades coming out of that. And
now, is that just out of curiosity? Because you can, you know, there's this that you have to drill at 90 degrees. So are you drilling at 90 degrees when you hit those widths, or are you
actually at about 60 degrees?
Okay, but it's still, you know, it's not like you're at 10 degrees or something.
No,
it is,
no,
you know,
that's true. The true width we're talking is 50 to 75 meters of true width here, you know, in terms of the whole brick shaded zone. The ultra high grade zone, so the resource is still built up, you know, it's basically 3 domains: an ultra high grade zone and a high grade zone and then a low grade. And effectively most of the resource is sitting in the ultra high grade and the high grade on
which is phenomenal, isn't it? Because that's very unusual. I mean, normally when you have a resource, it's a sort of what they call a log normal curve, isn't it? And most of the ounces usually sit in the low grade.
Low grade, that's
and
right.
then you have a small high grade core. But what you're actually saying is you have a large high grade core.
Exactly.
And a sort of small disseminated zone.
It is pretty unique, and the good thing, it is copper gold as well. You know, it's not just a gold. You know, it's not just a gold resource. It is a gold equivalent resource. We're sitting within that 166,000 tons of high grade copper. So, you know, in terms of the market, in terms of where we're going, you know, gold prices maybe dipped a little bit on the back of Trump, but essentially in terms of copper prices, that's picked up. So ultimately, we're looking quite pretty, if you want to call it, on that front in terms of going forward. I mean, this is a high grade, a world class project. So
PEA out, you know, within a week or two, thereabouts, certainly before the end of the year.
Certainly before the end of the year, yes.
And that's that's an interesting thing you said about the PEA, that's being done by an external consultant as well.
Yes.
Because that's quite unusual, because quite often PEAs are done internally, aren't they?
Well, they can be done internally, but I mean, we have, obviously, we've, you know, probably done an internal scoping study ourselves. But this is going to be...
Which then you didn't release to the market?
Well, it's an internal, so we wouldn't release it to the market. I mean, ultimately, we would be looking from a 43101 compliant PEA, you know, in terms of reporting standards. So certainly that's the reason why we would employ or engage a external consultant, and Rangi or RPM will be coming out with this resource, as I say, or with the PEA a little bit later this month or early next month. Yeah.
You talked about, you know, the copper
Yeah.
Content of the ore body. How does that change at all your thinking regarding the metallurgy? What is your thinking in terms of are you producing a doré or a concentrate, or?
Yeah, I mean, what we are looking at the moment is certainly, I mean, it's an underground mine with this grade. It can sustain an underground mine without, we actually aren't going to be having an open pit just from a permitting perspective. But in terms of the ore, it is clean ore, and we are looking at a bulk concentrate, you know, floating off a con initially, and then probably we may have separate con as well, sort of a pyrite con thereafter as well. So the idea is no cyanide. As I say, no open pit. So relatively low capital cost and low footprint. I think that's one of the key things that we're trying to drive here.
And then if you're producing concentrate, then where would you have that process then?
Okay, so we are looking to process the concentrate. Actually, the plant will be on site, and then effectively the concentrate will be sold, will be shipped out there are two possibilities, two port handling facilities at the moment. One is being used currently by First Quantum, and the other one is being used by a Turkish group. So, and that's about 50, 60 kilometers away from Hot Marden. So reasonably nearby and currently in operation.
And then are you looking at smelters in the region?
There is a smelter in Turkey, but actually, I mean, it's still a little bit early. I mean,
yes.
But we are looking at the options, and certainly it will be considered, you know, the Turkey smelter. But I mean, obviously there's spare capacity sitting here in Europe as well as the Chinese.
So it's pretty cheap to put this on a ship and send it to, frankly, wherever you want in the world.
Effectively.
In order to have this treatment.
And it is a clean concentrate. I mean, we are talking, you know, very little arsenic, you know, mercury, little silver. So it is.
Therefore, it should be relatively in demand.
We would think so.
In terms of that, then I suppose raises the question. There is the possibility that you do an offtake agreement. They help fund the. As a result of it, they help fund
exactly.
the exploitation.
This thing is moving so fast. Remember, we talk about a discovery last February, and here we are 18 months later, or just probably a little bit longer than that now. Effectively, you know, we're talking about a PEA, PFS. So it has moved pretty fast. So we all those options are being considered, how we fund this project. Probably from PEA to PFS, we start exploring those funding options as a joint venture. So it will be funded at a joint venture level. I mean, obviously, capital, I mean, the equity portion is going to come from ourselves as well as Lydia, our partner. You know, so, but those options are being looked at the moment.
And does that mean an equity raising on your side, or?
Well, at the moment we're pretty well funded. I mean, we're still sitting with still $6 million or particularly £5 million in the bank. We have had some warrant exercise that people would have seen over the past month or so, and that'll continue going forward as they are still in the money. But in terms of the actual project, obviously you're looking at bigger, you know, a bigger quantum of equity coming forward. So it's something over the next year, post PFS, we certainly will have to look at going into 2018, which is obviously going to start being the ramp-up year in terms of that capital funding.
Presumably, in the normal course of events, you would want to do as much of this on debt or on
ideally as much as debt you could.
Type funding in order to make it more efficient.
I mean, the leverage you can get out of it would obviously be advantageous for the project. It's certainly going to be a quick payback type project as well, specifically with the grade. So ideally, as much debt as we can put in there would make the most sense. But you know, we can be conservative. Mariana's portion, we've always spoken at around about a $200 million type capex number. So that's 60 million in total terms for Mariana's share. You know, even if we are on a 50-50, we think that's quite achievable for us.
So timelines. So PEA nowish, you know.
That's right.
Middle of next year we get a pre-feasibility study. Middle of 18 we get a bankable.
I think probably. I mean, it's probably working in tandem. But I mean, we also got to debate whether we get to a bankable. Whether we need to, if we can get financing through other means through our partner. But probably realistically, I mean, if we put it in a normal timeline, yes, I'd say 2018, mid 2018, you're bankable, and effectively going straight into long lead time.
Construction, and then construction is 2 years.
So we actually would be hoping around end of 2019. Somewhere around there. So
completion of construction.
Yeah.
Okay, and early 2020 then
production.
First pour,
yeah.
so to speak.
Or, so to speak, yeah, you'll concentrate, yeah.
Two more things we're a little bit pressed for time, but I must ask you about. First of all, we haven't discussed your other assets
no, we didn't
at all, so go on, tell us about those.
So just on the other assets, I mean, in terms of Turkey, so we do have the Agama asset, which is 100% owned. And we actually the drill rig is on site at the moment and has actually commenced drilling. So we would see the drill program. It's a small drill program, probably 7 holes, 2 deep holes into the porphyry system. It is a copper-gold porphyry target with some high-grade veins on the side. And we would expect the drilling to be finished end of December, going into early Jan, with results flowing from that, probably Jan first quarter next year. We'll be looking at results from Agama, which is the 100% owned, and then Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. We have been busy. You know, it's recently acquired. Our team is on the ground, actively looking to effectively lift up drill targets going forward. We have done soil sampling, stream sediment sampling. We're looking at auger at the moment, and probably some aeromag coming shortly thereafter.
So you have targets or assets at various different stages of, haven't you? Because the earlier stage being Côte d'Ivoire, and then you have the Western Turkey assets at a sort of resource
That's right.
delineation stage, and then you have Hot Martin, which is actually...
And then we have Argentina, which is advanced exploration for us. We do have a resource down there, small resource, and we're actually looking at high-grade targets there at the moment, and our guys are busy there as well. We'll be hoping to be drilling there sometime, probably end of the first quarter next year as well.
So you just hinted about it before, but I must ask you about the broader macro picture. You mentioned the Trump effect. Give us your view on the gold market and where the gold price is and what it's done since Trump's election, i.e. it's fallen about $100 an ounce, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, it has. I mean, obviously that's probably more an interest related, there's talk of higher interest rates, and obviously that does have an effect on gold. But I think you still have the fundamentals there, where the world is still in turmoil. Growth is not forthcoming, inflation is not running. So I still think, personally, I'm still a gold bull. I still believe we have a good 2 to 3 years on the gold price, which I think we can take advantage on. And that's pretty much my view with economic growth coming thereafter. So a 3-year horizon on our base metals, I think that's probably my view and my opportunity there, I think.
Excellent. All right, Glenn, I'm afraid that I'm very sorry, but that's all we have time for. Thank you very much indeed. That was Glen Parsons, ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Executive of Mariana Resources. As I say, we're pressed for time. That's all we have time for today, but looking forward to seeing you next week when we have more hot topics, more hot gold companies, and more mining opportunities for you. Until then, have a capital day.